God said in Genesis 2:18, it is not good for man to be alone. So we know that's in keeping with God's will. Cultivate the patience that he must be teaching you in this season.
So I have a question for the single person who wants to get married someday. How do I overcome feelings of loneliness? What should I focus on in the meantime?
I want to start by not being that bullish guy that says just put your nose in the word and get over it and wait. I don't think that's good shepherding, number one. I want to start by acknowledging that that would be a unique and painful form of desire that people go through, and maybe especially at this age. So I would also encourage those of you maybe who aren't going through that right now to seek out those individuals that maybe are going through that and minister to them and love them and pray for them and encourage them in their faith as they go through that season. So I want to make that as a caveat. To the person who's going through that season, though, of loneliness and waiting, I want to start by saying and reminding everybody that not all desires are sinful. Sometimes we think, oh, it's a desire. I don't know if I can have that. Well, the scriptures are super clear. I mean, there's even the desire to be a pastor elder is a good desire. 1 Timothy 3 speaks about the man who aspires to the office of elder. It's a fine thing he desires to do. So all that to say, there are good desires, noble, honor desires. And that would be true of the desire to be married, to the desire to have a relationship. God said in Genesis 2:18, it is not good for man to be alone. So we know that's in keeping with God's will. That would be the generic principle here. Now, though marriage is something to aspire to and a godly desire to have, we also want to make sure we are clear that that desire, like any desire, can go in the wrong direction. It can become such a life-dominating thought that it can go from honorable, godly desire to sinful, idolatrous desire, where suddenly you can be thinking, I just want to be married, I want to have a family, to now suddenly petting the little idol that you've formed in your heart that's supplanted or replaced your devotion to Christ himself. So just be cautious about not letting those desires which start as godly ones to drift into ungodly desires. The second one is to remember that those feelings you're experiencing, loneliness, yearning, longing, whatever you want to call it, even those were appointed by God. Everything in this planet, Ephesians 1:11, has been designed and appointed by God, including those feelings of loneliness or wanting that you're going through right now. So remember that. Remember that he gives you those desires and those feelings that he allows you to go through to deepen your trust and reliance upon him, ultimately. If he doesn't bless you with a spouse when you want him to, he's good. And if he does, he's good. Either way, he's good. And like anything else that he's appointed, he's still good. He's designed you to walk through this season. He's designed you to grow closer to him in this season. And that's the facts of it. So don't question it if you're a believer. Don't question his goodness to you in that season. Third would be to remember your identity. If you are a follower of Jesus Christ, your identity is not as a Mr. or a Mrs., it's as a follower of Jesus Christ. Plain and simple. And that's a good reminder, not just for those who desire to be married, that's a good reminder for guys and gals who are married. We can idolize our spouse and make it all about them when our chief affection in this world ought to be for Jesus and him alone. A fourth one would be to redeem this season that you find yourself in. Realize that, again, God has you in this season for reasons only he knows. Understand that he makes no mistakes. His ways are perfect. He's not, wringing his hands in heaven wondering, how did this happen and how did you end up lonely? It doesn't work that way. So while you're in this season, commit to growing and trusting in him. Grow in your faith. Like we talked about earlier, make sure you're in the word and growing and abiding in it. Make sure you're in prayer. Make sure this is a unique season for you to be serving in your church. You might have less time in some ways to serve once you are married. And then importantly, cultivate the patience that he must be teaching you in this season as you wait on him.
Yeah. And then we even have the admonition from Paul who says, if you are single, remain as I am. There's an advantage there. The one who is married is concerned about the needs of his wife, and the one who is unmarried is concerned about the needs of the Lord. Sure. So, what do you think? Is there a gift of celibacy?
There's a season of celibacy.
That's what I was,
A
kind of.
station of celibacy.
Is it making a division between? Yeah. Yeah. That's an
I
interesting.
wouldn't categorize it as a gift. I've always thought of it as just the appointment for the time.
Yeah. So if it's a season of singleness, then still can follow Paul's admonition, be concerned with the needs of the church and the Lord's wants and desires while you're in that season.
Right.